Today we're going to work through Inventor. We're going to start with basics. We're going to start with how to create a project. Then we're going to start with a part file. So to do a project, the important part of a project is whenever we get to more advanced files like assemblies, drawings, and presentations, you want all your part files to be together in one place, one cohesive project. So it's very important that as you go from one topic to another, that you have those topics in projects. So we're going to start by creating a project just for all the homework and various work that you do in Unit 4. So we're going to create a project file. So click on Project. Then down here at the bottom, we're going to do New, Single User Project. We're going to give this project a name, such as Unit 4 Work. Then we need to go find a folder for this project. So we're going to come down here. We're going to click the Browse for Project Location. Normally, you want to go put these projects in someplace like your H drive. So if you want your H drive, you go to this PC and come down here and click on your H drive. I'm just going to put it on my desktop just to make it easier. Now, there's not going to be a project folder for this project yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to make one. So once you go to wherever you want to save this project, click on Make New Folder and name it Unit My project ran away. Unit 4 Work. Now, because mine messed up, doesn't have the right folder selected. Most likely yours doesn't either. So click on another folder and then click back on the folder that you just created. Then it should say the right thing. Click OK. And then you should be able to verify here that you have the right folder. So mine says desktop, my Inventor practice folder, then Unit 4 Work. Then click Finish. And you'll have your new project here along with over here in your projects. So you can click Done. So always, every time you're doing any random Unit 4 work, just make sure that you have a check mark over here next to your Unit 4 work. So we're going to move on from creating projects to part files. These assemblies, drawings, and presentation files we'll get to at a later time. So there's several different ways you can create part files. You can create a part file just right here by clicking this. You can also come up here and click New, and it'll bring up this window, and you can click a new one here. You can go File, New, get the same window. There's lots of ways you can do this. If you do a new, we always want a standard part file, not sheet metal. Usually takes it a little while to come up. And where it comes up, you'll see several tabs up here at the top: 3D model, sketch, annotate, inspect. The only ones that we will really use here at the beginning are 3D model and sketch. Then we have our browser bar here. As we create things, things will be generated here in the browser bar. Again, here at the beginning, we won't use the browser bar a whole lot. This will be mainly used later on when we get to more advanced things. Off here to the right is your bars for moving things around. We'll use this button here, zoom all quite a bit, along with this box up here. We're going to start with doing a 2D sketch. So if you click Start 2D Sketch button, it'll bring up 3 planes, XY, XZ, and YZ. Really doesn't matter for today which plane you start on. So I'm just going to go ahead and start on the XY plane by clicking on it. Then it'll bring up the axis like you're normally used to. This is the XY axis. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start. Notice it took me to my sketch tab because I'm sketching. I'm going to start by drawing a rectangle. Anytime we sketch, it's really good practice to anchor your sketches to the origin. I know my sketch is anchored to the origin because whenever I get close, my dot is going to turn green. So then it's anchored to the origin. So I'm going to start my rectangle. I click, I drag outwards. I can drag to a certain point. It's a lot easier just to type in the numbers I want to, or in a little while, I'll show you how to dimension it after you've drawn it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to enter in, I want this to be 1 inch, so I'm going to type 1. Then to type a value into the other one, I'm going to press tab, and then type 2 into the other one. Now notice it made my rectangle bigger than what I can see. That zoom all button that I was talking about a little bit earlier comes in handy all the time. Once things get bigger than your screen, you can click zoom all and it'll automatically fit whatever you have to your screen. All right, so all we need is a rectangle for right now. I'm going to click finish sketch. Again, it made it smaller than I wanted, so I'm going to zoom all. This took me back to the 3D environment, so it turned my sketch. So this is what it would look like in 3D. To make it 3D, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to use the extrude button. The extrude button is how you turn a 2D sketch into a 3D model. There's several things on this that are important. First of all, profile is what you click to tell it which 2D sketch you want to use to make 3D. Now, since we only had one sketch on here, it went ahead and chose it for us. Distance, we'll talk about this in a little while, what the distance button talks about. 1 inch tells it the distance. I'm going to go ahead and make this 3 inches. Here it says direction 1. If I wanted this to go backwards, I could do direction 2. It could make it go backwards from where I'm sitting. Symmetric makes it go 1.5 inches in both directions. Asymmetric will let me do 3 inches in one direction and however far I want to go in the other direction. So I'm just going to go back to direction 1 and click OK. I'm going to do zoom all again so I can see the whole thing. Notice over here in my browser bar that I now have my extrusion. If I wanted to change my sketch, if I did something wrong, I could open up that extrusion by clicking the arrow. I could double click on that sketch. And let's say I didn't want that to be 2 inches. I wanted that to instead to be 3 inches. So I double click on the 2 inches. I come in here, I can change that to be 3 inches. Finish sketch, and it automatically updates it for me. Okay, so let's say I want to make a hole on this face. I'm going to start another sketch. Well, if you start a sketch, it didn't bring up the axes this time because now we have an object. So I have to tell it which face I want to draw on. So I'm going to draw on this face here. And zoom all. I'm going to draw another rectangle. Just draw a random rectangle in there. Come up here to the dimension button. I want to dimension this side to be 1 inch. And then click on the other side. Dimension that side to be 1.5 inches, so 1.5. Now, notice it did this. I need to tell it where I want this rectangle to be inside of here. So I'm going to use the dimension button still. I'm going to click on this side of my rectangle and this side of the object, and I'm going to tell it I want that to be 1/2 inch, so 0.5. Then I'm going to click on the top and the top. I'm going to tell it I want that to be 1 inch. Now notice that my rectangle went from being green to now it's a purplish blue color. Whenever it's green, it is not fully dimensioned. Now that it's purple, my rectangle is fully dimensioned. If I try to dimension it again, it's going to tell me that it's over dimensioned. So I'm going to finish that sketch. I'm going to click on the extrude button. This time it didn't select the profile because I could actually do in here or I could do out here. So I'm going to click the rectangle. It's making a rectangle coming out. I want to cut in. So here I have the choice to join, or if I go to the second one down, it's cut. So I'm going to click on cut. Notice it went all the way through plus a lot farther back because the distance here says 3 inches. It's actually really bad habit to get into to cut farther than you need to. So to make sure it doesn't cut any farther than we need to, if I go up here to distance and I click, I can come down here to the all button. And it will just cut all the way through and it will stop once it reaches the other side. So I'm going to click OK and I have my hole. The box up here, I can use this. I can click on corners or the faces and it will rotate my figure so I can see it from different angles. I can also grab that box and rotate it manually. Once I get really lost in what I'm looking at, I can come up here and click the home button and it will take me back to where I was to start with. Okay, we're going to do one more thing real quick. Once you click 2D sketch, I want you to click on the top of the box. I want you to draw a circle. Let's draw 2 circles. Let's draw one here. Let's draw another one here. Okay, let's dimension those circles to be 1/2 inch. So 0.5. We're going to dimension the other one to be 0.5. I'm going to dimension each circle to be 1 inch from the edge. And then 1/2 inch from the top edge. And then finish your sketch once you get that done. Okay, we're going to make 2 pegs coming off the top, so we're going to extrude. Whenever we do profile, we're going to select both of those pegs and change the distance to 1 inch. Now I want you to notice what would happen. Let me change that to 2 inches. And let me select the other direction. And select join, and notice it makes a peg going down through there. It's kind of cool, but that's not what I want. I want the pegs to go up. I want it to go 1 inch. I'm going to click OK. And there's my pegs. All right, so take some more time, get familiar with Inventor, and that is all for today.